Welcome to Bionic Life. I have to say something right out of the gate. Kudos to YouTube folks that can speak to a camera. That's not really my thing. I can get up in front of a group of people, hundreds, even 1,000, and it doesn't seem to bother me. I think I need the interaction. I don't know what it is, but kudos to the YouTubers that can do it. That said, I'll give you a quick little idea of what's going on with this channel. 35 years ago, I was involved in a workplace accident where I lost my right leg at the hip. I am classified, is the best way to say it, as a hip disartic. But technically, I'm not. I have the head of the femur. So if this is the ball, this is the femur bone. I have the head of the femur, the ball part. No bone part, none of the long bone. It's cut off flush with the head of the ball. And I do have muscle control over it. I can move it. The thinking, I believe, when I talked to my first orthopedic surgeon who treated me, was that they were hoping down the road in the future there could be implants, which are actually coming to fruition. It's not something I'm totally excited about at this point. But putting an implant in and allowing more control over a prosthetic. So I have the head of the femur. In the same accident, I also had a crushing injury to my lower left leg. Below the knee, basically between the knee and the ankle, the bones looked like a candy cane that's been kicked around Walmart's floor during the holiday season. It was just shattered into pieces. They rebuilt that. They got me patched up. I have ongoing medical issues with this left leg. I've just went through a series of surgeries to take out some infected bone, necrotic tissue, and they did a muscle flap, they did a skin graft, all that kind of stuff. They did a very extensive surgery several years ago. I'm going to say 18, a few years ago. It is still giving me some issues. We're going to try to treat it with antibiotics. I think that's the course. We may have to go in and take the rod out again. They've done it once. They put a rod in once, removed it, put another one in. We may have to do it a third time. I'm not sure how this is going to play out. But so that's kind of what's going on with the left leg. And I say that to continue on to the prosthetic side. My prosthetic is like I said, I'm technically not a hip disartic, but I'm kind of am one. Everything's built around being a hip disarticulated amputee. I have a tilt socket that has a locking lever that locks the hip in position. There's a slight bit of flexion, which allows me to bend a little bit, and that's done through springs and pins and that kind of thing. It's really pretty low tech. It's 35 plus year technology. It's pretty old. It's made by ottobock. The knee, however, and the foot is super high tech. It's probably the leading technology in lower limb prosthetics. It's the Genium X3 by ottobock. There is a hip that is supposed to be mated and part of the system. It's just because of the issues I've had with my lower leg on my left side, my sound leg. I am just not comfortable diving into a new hip as well. I think this hip provides me some stability and allows me to kind of have a pretty decent quality of life at this point. I do see, as things progress and as the leg gets stronger and as the muscles, develop, balance gets better, I do see possibly going to the helix hip. I think it's called a helix hip. The knee is pretty neat. It's a microchip knee. It has an app on Android devices. I'm not sure if it has an iPhone capabilities or if there's an app for that on iPhone. I know since I have Android, I know that that's what works. It has settings. It's programmed at the prosthetist's office, and I can also control parameters. I can adjust it a little bit from whatever settings the prosthetist sets it at. I can adjust those slightly, and beyond that, it learns. So it will also learn. I don't know how many steps it takes. I've heard anywhere between 30 to 90 steps, and it learns your method of walking and how you how you perform and how you input your gait. It kind of learns that stuff. The foot has, the knee has a gyroscope, just like your phone. It knows where it is in space. It knows if it has a lateral load leaning out to the, for me it'd be to the right, medial load and leaning to the inside, heel load, toe load, anterior, posterior. It has all that. It knows toe load, heel load. It knows what angle it's at. It's pretty high tech. As things progress with my recovery on the left side, I see that that becoming a lot more critical, or I wouldn't say critical, more advantageous. I'd be able to take advantage of some of the features that this leg offers. Right now, it does allow me to go down steps foot over foot. I had a Rio, let me think, it was made by Osher, I believe. It was a Rio knee. It worked okay. I didn't trust it 100%. I had some issues early on with that, as I did with a C-leg, another ottobock product prior to the Rio knee. And I didn't feel comfortable with it. This Genium X3 is, to me, with the foot, with the corresponding foot, is pretty amazing. I can go down steps foot over foot. Ramps and inclines, it depends on the angle. I prefer a steeper angle almost than a shallow angle. The shallow angle seems to give me some issues. But I do, I love it for that. It allows me to select modes that are pre-programmed. So for me, I have a motorcycle mode, bicycle mode, load carrying mode, and I think a crouch mode for like if I'm working under something that I need to get down in. I have rental property, and sometimes you have to crouch to get into some tight spaces, so I use that mode. But it also has just a basic walking mode, which is what I use 90% of the time. It has a locking mode also, I forgot about that. That's great for hunting, or if you're walking through brush or snow, and you don't want the knee to bend. Allows you to push through things. So it's it's a really neat setup. It allows me, and it gives me a quality of life that that I haven't experienced for, up till probably 29 years, without with the prosthetics that I had 29 years prior. So this Genium X3 is an amazing piece of technology. And I'll show some footage of that at some point. Yeah, so the purpose of this channel and what I see happening now, what actually happens, who knows? Things can be fluid. You can have ideas, and then as things progress, you change. You change with different input. The way I see it is by doing things, normal everyday activity. It's an encouragement to those who maybe have a temporary incapacitation, and they may be struggling with it, or if they are long-term or lifetime incapacitations or challenges. Hopefully seeing somebody tackle these, and with modification, it's an encouragement. I do everything that I did before my accident, except run. And I've done some things that I didn't do prior to my accident. Since my accident, I used to ride motorcycle prior to the accident in high school, and I did after. I still do. Dirt bikes mostly right now. I haven't got on a street bike since I had a rod put in. I've ridden my son's dirt bike. I fly ultralight aircraft. I have a CGS Hawk. That was after the accident. I learned how to water ski after my accident. And that was kind of comical because the guy that taught me, a buddy of mine and his wife, they never told me that you could learn via a boom and a wider ski. I started deep water starts on a slalom ski, which was very narrow, and it was tough. It took me, I was beat up, and then after the first day, I went back for a second time, and it just seemed to come. And I can ski. The trick is for my deceleration before entering a turn, some people lean back on their ski to cut through and make their cut when they're doing the slalom and turning behind the boat. For me to decelerate, I actually have to lean forward. at least on the ski that I learned on, because of the binding positions on the ski itself. I would lean forward a little bit, decelerate, and then kind of push in out with my heel and make my cut. Was it perfect? It was probably not what a two-legged person would do, but for me it worked. And I would ski without my prosthetic. I would just ski with one leg. I relearned how to downhill ski. That I learned, I think, in '88 or '89. Went to a clinic near, I think it was in Seven Springs, Pennsylvania, and they did a adaptive skiing class at clinic, so I learned there. Again, pretty sore after that, but I guess the point is, I do lots of things that I did before. Many times it requires modification. Hopefully these stories and showing you how I do things and how I adapted things encourage people. And that's kind of the whole point of the channel. We'll see how it goes, and see how the channel evolves.